the evidence that the biblical Great Flood really happened. The story of Noah's flood is hardly original. A similar flood narrative is found in many religions. The oldest record predates the Old Testament. It comes from Sumerian and Old Babylonian tablets. In the Sumerian version, gods are angry with humans. They send down a 7-day deluge that floods the world. But first, they warn King Ziusudra. He builds a huge boat for himself and his family. Ziusudra apparently had animals on board as well. The story was later rewritten with Babylonian characters. It was incorporated into the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's no surprise it found its way into the Hebrew Bible. But what if the Great Flood is not a myth? Recently, scientists uncovered some compelling evidence. A chain of unlikely events took place around the Black Sea. The flood itself probably occurred some 7,500 years ago, but the scientific story starts long before that. 20,000 years ago, Earth was going through an ice age. Thick ice sheets extended down from the North Pole. They reached as far as Chicago and New York City. Ocean levels were about 400 feet lower than they are today. Water that evaporated from the oceans fell as snow. It was compacted into glacial ice. Meltwater from the European glaciers flowed to the Black Sea. From there, it followed a river channel into the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is connected to the world ocean at Gibraltar. As a result, it was also 400 feet lower than it is today. The flow of fresh meltwater through the Black Sea was downhill. As time went on, the world warmed. The glaciers retreated. All that meltwater began to flow north into the North Sea. This deprived the Black Sea of its main source of replenishment. The level of the Black Sea began to drop. Most of the area around its northern boundary became dry land. The Black Sea and the Mediterranean were separated by the Bosporus. At that point, it was dry land. The world ocean kept rising, and the Mediterranean with it. The Black Sea kept falling. It could not last forever. Eventually, the Mediterranean overflowed. It poured through into the Black Sea basin. This is revealed through sediment analysis. Layers of sediment at the bottom reveal history. The shells found in this mud were carbon dated. They're between 18,000 and 8,600 years old. The shells are typical for freshwater bodies. When the Mediterranean overflowed, the water cut a channel. The salt water poured through the deepening channel. It created a waterfall 200 times the volume of Niagara Falls. In a single day, the water level rose hundreds of feet. The roar of the water would have been audible 100 miles away. The ocean moved inland at the rate of a mile a day. The farmlands and settlements around the Black Sea were swallowed. Scholars believe that the survivors dispersed around the world. They would have brought the story of the flood with them. There's some indirect evidence of this migration. These people always built houses at least 150 feet above sea level. Were they perhaps scared of the sea?